All right. Welcome everybody to another Power 30. As I mentioned before we started recording, normally it's Joe D as the interviewer, but he had a conflict. So it's Denise's lucky day. She gets to have me as her interviewer instead. I hear that I go a little easier on the guests than Joe does, so maybe that'll help you. And I have to say that, Denise, you have to feel like you're something special to get the election day Power 30 slot. I mean, not just anybody gets that. So you got to feel really important about that.
Well, it's one of those type of days that so it really talks about our freedom today, right? So I am free to say whatever I want. Is that accurate?
You are free to say whatever you want.
All right. Mark my words. That's probably going to happen.
So let's get started by you telling us a little bit about yourself and your real estate career. I know that prior to being with EXP, you were with Urban Nest. And after you give us a little intro, I'm going to ask you to tell us a little bit about the story of when you were first introduced to EXP, because I think it's a really fun and entertaining story.
Awesome. Well, goodness, I have been in the industry since 1982. So I started at 12 years old or so in the industry, something like that.
Yeah.
I tease all the time that I've been in the industry for 50 years because my mom was in real estate. And so I came straight out of high school, started on the title and escrow side, and then made my way in 2003 over to the real estate side, where I worked as an independent agent and then also as a team lead. And so I have tens of thousands of transactions, the good, the bad, and the ugly over the years. So when I got into real estate, I started with Realty Executives, which was an absolutely incredible company for me at that time. My mom was with the company, and that's where even when I came out of sales, immediately I knew I needed a mentor. And so George Durkin was my guy. And I'll never forget what George said to me. He was doing top producer, lots of on the phones. I said, "Hey, I'd like you to mentor me. And, what's that going to cost?" And he said, "I'm not going to cost you anything except one thing." And I'm like, "Well, what's that?" He said, "You have to have something in escrow in the next 3 weeks." See, George knew something really important. He knew that it was critical for me to get something in escrow immediately. And I think that that is something that I've been able to carry on throughout my career, that says the only way I get the privilege of staying here is if I generate revenue, build profits in my company. And so that was valuable. Went through Realty Executives, over to Keller Williams, spent some time with Keller Williams, incredible opportunity there. Realty One Group and Urban Nest. So I've had the independent, I've had the corporate, I've had the Keller Williams model, and I think it was a perfect season for me. And I've been able to bring all that to EXP to build out a business that I'm proud of.
Okay. So I was going to jump right into your EXP story, but let's actually defer on that for just a minute, because it's interesting. You mentioned that your mentor helped you get something in escrow right away. That was what you were looking for. I remember when I was new in my career, what I would do every morning is I would say, what is the thing that's going to generate me money the soonest? And I'd work on that first. And, it's something that I sort of get away from time to time, and I have to get myself back to it because it's really easy to get stuck in that whirlwind. So I know that you are an amazing coach for mentoring realtors, pretty much of all levels. So tell us a little bit about when you have a new agent come on your team. What do you do with that new agent to get that person started right out of the gate?
Well, I think it doesn't matter if they're coming on my team, they're coming to EXP, they're sitting in one of my CE classes. I tell them the truth. Now, the truth's going to hurt a little bit because it's going to go right back to what you're saying, Cody, and it is for all of us. You have to do the things you don't want to do, not just sometimes, but consistently. I was listening to Steve De La Vaga, a post that he had yesterday, and he was talking about the importance of doing the things you don't want to do. And so wherever we are in our business, brand new, we've been in the business for 5 years, we've been in the business for 15, we're all going to hit ceilings that we're going to have to crash through. And there's 3 things that you have to do all the time. The first is your mindset. Right? Every single day, there has to be something that you are doing for your mindset. And we use this book, and I've been using this since the very first, Macy Walsh is where I started in sales. It's called The Greatest Salesman in the World. It's beat up, it's torn up. This is probably my third one that I've had. But that from a real estate sales perspective is about mindset. And then it's a credible tool to get you there. So mindset, the next is systems. Chasing shiny objects in our industry, it's a challenge because there's always something better that's coming on. And so we get so excited about it when it really is just identifying what are the systems that we're going to use. So we use a system called 3-2-1, right? We talk to 3 people in our SOI and have significant conversations about real estate every single day. The next one is we have to find 2 new people every day that want to do buy and sell in real estate in the next 30 days. And then we need to be learning one thing new. And so Cody, I mean, when you hear that, you can see how that could apply to your business as well as it can apply to a brand new agent. Yeah. So, you know, as you start digging into those things and you start doing those things, the challenge is you're going to hit a wall. You're going to hit a wall. And you're going to want to, and so what happens when we hit a wall is we want to back off. We want to retreat. And the truth is we got to break down that wall. And so where the systems are concerned, we also use KV Core. We do a weekly audit on KV Core where we're digging into our KV Core and where are we at in our A, B, and C leads? What people in our database don't have a next step on them? And so I think it's really important whenever we're doing these type of things that we come from this place of care, not shame, right? Progress, not perfection. So they're critical parts of it. And then we use a system called Asana, and it's robust. There's a lot to it. And so again, it's mastering pieces of it so that it goes into that mindset. And then third one is accountability. Accountability is critical. Now, whenever I talk to anyone, how many of you want more accountability? Put in your chat if you want more accountability in your life. So let's see how many of us are there. There's 21. Lacey, can you make sure that 21 people say if they want more accountability in their life? I'm dying to hear what y'all think about this. Who wants more accountability? I know everyone on my team, they're like, yeah, accountability.
Accountability is kind of one of those things that sounds great in concept, but when you're really doing it, you're like, oh, this can hurt.
Oh yeah, it is. And really where we're growing to is personal accountability. That's the highest level of accountability that we can achieve. And it's a process. And so for our accountability, if you're looking for a coaching company, absolutely the best coaching company out there. And the one that I use for my coaching on the real estate is Workman Success Systems. I have to tell you, over the last 12 months that I've had them as far as my actual business going and being able to thrive during COVID, it's been those systems, that accountability that's been a big deal. The next one is I do a 6 a.m. call every morning with Mike Harden and Allie Orsi. Like it or not, at 6 a.m., we're on a call with each other and we're talking about 3-2-1s. What did we do yesterday? And we've been doing that now for 60 days. We are on a listing push for fourth quarter and setting up our first quarter. So that's a huge point of accountability. That I'm answering to as well. And then I just can't even speak too much to the accountability that we have within Synergy. Right? This is such a unique opportunity, this team. And I think of Joe and Pam and Cody and all of us that have come together over the last 9 months. And I'm 100% certain that if it wasn't for the love that we have within this group and within Sync, that I would not have been as capable of surviving and thriving in this crazy, crazy time. So whether it's me, been in the business since 1982, or it's a brand new agent, those are the things that we do.
You know, Denise, one of the things you just made me think about with Synergy is that you'd sent me this little message through Facebook, I think it was, that said something about associating yourself with the winners because the conversation is different. And that really is something that Synergy brings to the table. It's a way that somebody like you, me, and others in the group can be in business with each other in a way that we never could before. And it doesn't have to be this perfect matching of experience level or productivity. There's all these synergies that come together. in a way that let you be in that conversation that's different. And that's the thing I've really noticed has been different, is that the conversation that you're having physically with other people leads to the conversation you're having with yourself in your head. And that what you're having the conversation in your head is really what drives you to your results. So I think that's great. Let me just reiterate that so everyone catch it, make sure everyone caught that. So sure. Number 1 was mindset. Number 2 was systems. And number 3 was accountability. So we've talked a little bit about, we've talked a lot about mindset in Synergy. Without going into the details of specific systems, Denise, do you have any like general, like what is in your mind makes a good system? When does something need a system and when does something not?
That's awesome. So this is the acronym that I use for systems. So a system is going to save you significant time, energy, and money, right? A system doesn't exist unless it's in writing as well. So when you think about a system, anything you do more than 3 times needs to be in a system of some type. So if I'm going to open escrow more than 3 times, then I should have a letter that's already typed out that all that I'm adding is a couple pieces of data, and then I can send that off. If you're like me, it might take me 20 minutes to draft a letter that I would send out to someone because grammar, what did I mean to say? And then it goes out and it's incorrect and all that crazy stuff. If I'm going to do that more than 3 times, I'm going to do it once. And then it frees up my time to do what, Cody?
The income producing activities?
Money making activities. Absolutely. And so even my money making activities need to be done in a system such that they're available to me continually. So a system, anything that you do more than 3 times needs to be in writing. And it takes time to develop that. It definitely takes time to develop that. However, when you're a small business and you're creating these systems and it grows your business, it becomes scalable. And we do 2 things. So with a system, it's going to do 1 of 2 things. I'm going to be able to delegate it or duplicate it. So I want to be able, as my business grows and I'm scaling and I'm hiring in a virtual assistant, or I'm hiring in a transaction coordinator, or I'm getting support from that side, I already have in writing the things that they can do for me in a way that I can monitor them, that it's done correctly. The other thing with the system that we're doing that I love, and we're getting better and better at it, is we're doing a video that's tied to the system. So for the things I'm going to want to delegate, I want to have more free time. I want to build my profits. I want to do more money-making activities. At some point, I'm going to have to let go of those things that don't require a license. So I delegate anything that does not require a license. I duplicate. And so that when you get into your business, and whether you're brand new right now or you've been in the business forever long, the way to scale is by bringing in team members. And so if it requires a license, like open houses, I don't care. You can do an open house with a greeter. It's not effective. It needs to be another licensee. And you want to allow someone the opportunity to do open houses in your business, then you want to make sure that they do it your way, that they're not renegade. Remember that they are representing you with that seller. And so your reputation's on the line. So when we're duplicating ourselves through other people, we have to remember they have to be able to create the same result. Therefore, a system in place, a video in place. Zoom is an incredible way to use window screening, sharing, those type of things.
Excellent. Very good. So I want to make sure that doesn't get lost, this concept of being able to duplicate the effort. I once heard somebody that's very successful say in everything he does, he asks, can this be repeated by somebody else? Can this be replicated, duplicated, whatever you want to use as the word, by somebody else? And if not, he was reluctant to work on that. He was reluctant to build any kind of a system that couldn't be repeated by others elsewhere in the same scenario. So very good. Thanks for that definition. Okay. Let's switch gears just a little bit here. So I want you to tell us about a particular plane ride that you were on. And this was not your first introduction to EXP, but it was the one that stuck. So that's the one worth noting.
Not the 12 before. I think it's important just to, do an earmark to the 12 before.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about that process for you.
Yeah, EXP, I got introduced very early into EXP. This is what I would tell everybody, and myself included, is do not limit in your own mind the opportunity for anyone. I'll say that again. Do not limit in your own mind the opportunity for anyone. There's nothing more discouraging for me when one of two things happens. I drive in my neighborhood and see a home listed by someone else. I mean, I'm not eating dinner that night. I'm so frustrated that that's not my listing. But when I look at the facts are that I didn't create the value in that person for whatever my belief systems are tied around that. The next one is everyone deserves the opportunity to say yes to EXP. Everybody deserves that opportunity. And many people saw that in me. However, the reason they were introducing EXP to me was for their benefit. Yeah. That's why they wanted me to come into their downline for the value I bring to them, to their revenue share. Joe D is the airplane ride. And Joe D and I have been friends, dear friends for 20 years, 3 a.m. friends, tell the truth friends, even when it hurts friends. And so we have a very long history, and we go to dinner very regularly. So I ask you, who are you going to dinner with? Who are you going to lunch with? Who are you hanging out with when it doesn't matter? And so we went to dinner, Grape Street, my favorite place. And I'll never forget the table that we're sitting in. We're sitting in the booth in the back of the room, and we're just chatting it up. He's asking about me, the whole 9 yards. And then he brings up the EXP. Now, this red hair, you guys, it is legit. He brings up EXP for the 12th time, and I am not happy about this. I am not. And I used a few choice words. Are you kidding me? Are we having an EXP conversation? And he's like, whoa, whoa, whoa. I'm just telling you about what I'm doing. What's all your emotion about? And I share a little bit about, how I've been tricked into having dinners, how I'd been lied to about what the conversation was really going to be about. And he's like, this is not about, we don't have to talk anymore if you don't want to. But I would say this to you, Denise, that if this is your reaction, you have not heard the real story about EXP. I have to tell you, that statement really hit me because it's no different than a listing presentation, right? The right listing presentation talks about the seller and the needs and their whys and their wants. And that's what Joe did.
So Denise, tell us about what was it in your mind? So the previous 12 or the previous 11 or whatever it was, they had you had a certain belief system in your mind. What was that belief system that you had prior to Joe saying that statement that opened your mind to considering something different?
So mindset, right? My mindset was earning money has to be hard. When I dug in deeper and deeper and deeper, like this being this easy, when I look at my accounts with the company now, 12 months later, that have been effortless, that have been compensated just to care about people, my belief about that was that couldn't be possible because it had to be hard. I had to work hard. And I have worked hard, but I'll tell you that the conversation with Joe, and we started talking about the 3 lanes of opportunities within EXP from the real estate. Never forget, that's what we do. We list, sell, and then we invest in real estate. The second lane, which is ownership in the company. This is the first company that ever really meant that I want you to be in partnership with me. The rest of them wanted me to build them. Out of goodwill, which I did, and I have no regrets to that. But this was the first time they said, we want to reward your efforts. And they wanted to encourage me to actually do volume. And then the third is revenue share, which each and every one of you on here, it's the opportunity for all of us to one day find another opportunity outside of real estate that will reward us for our efforts in real estate. Most people in this industry are going to just close their doors. All their efforts are going to be for nothing. And so Joe really started to walk me through each one of those and how it was real and how I could trust the company. And we're in a very different situation today than we were when I started getting those introductions.
So that led to a few days later, I don't know, maybe it was as much of a week later, Joe says to me, hey, I need you to go over and meet with Denise. And so Denise and I meet, I think it was at a Starbucks or something. And so I've never met Denise in my life. We sit down and she says, so Cody, I have a question for you. What's your 5-year plan? I was just like, it might have been the most caught off guard I've ever been in my life, because I was like, whoa, she's going right to the heart of the issue. So, but it was led to a really cool conversation. And what I learned about you instantly in that moment was that you are thinking big. You are thinking like, if you're going to do all this effort for something small, you might as well do the same effort for something big. And so I really appreciate that in you. And I know you have that vision. So do you have anything else to elaborate on as far as like how the synergy model fits on top of those three sources of income and wealth building that you just mentioned?
Yeah. Excuse me. I'm not sure what's happening in the industry, but I'm starting to get a lot of phone calls from agents that are coming into someone else's downline. By the way, that's kind of dangerous because I converted one of them into my downline, but I'm happy to take the phone calls all day long. It's Sunday and I get a phone call from someone, and he and I work together. He's like, hey, I see you over at EXP. What do you think? And what I say to them is, I think that the most important thing you can do is be sure you get into the right downline. That consistently, the challenge that people have with EXP is they get into the wrong downline. With 100% assurity, Synergy is the only downline in Las Vegas that has the type of value proposition. And so, God, think about it. When I was being introduced to EXP, this model sounded great, right? The Ferrari engine, lead generation, training, on all of that. However, I could operate in it because I'd been in the industry at a very high level, but I could not see where I could recruit other people to operate in it. And so it was that very first conversation with Joe and with Cody and with Pam and with Tamara and Steve Matthews and Matt Haw, when I started to see that this really was an opportunity where 8 great leaders were coming together for no compensation and saying, if we collaborate, we can offer an opportunity for more agents to recruit and to use all 3 of these models. And so the most important thing that we can do when we are getting on the phone every day is to forget that someone might say no to us. I said no 11 times. Yeah. 11 times. And so the opportunity is that one time. And you know what? We might plant seeds that we don't see bloom. However, not being in the Synergy group or these opportunities, these calls, this Power 30, where literally anyone in here could reach out for support and care, isn't available in a lot of uplines. And when you go up from us, you go me, Joe, Cody, Bill Price, Brent Go, Shelly Johnson, you go up that line. There is not one person that every single person on this call could not reach out to and say, I'm struggling in this part of my business. What do I do? I have this incredible opportunity. What do I do? That there are people that are creating enormous results within our company, and they want to help every single person on this call. That does not happen. And so giving people the opportunity, not just to say yes to EXP, but to say yes to this organization, such that we all grow and flourish together.
Yeah, you made me think of an interesting thing that I sometimes teach to the realtors that I'm mentoring, and that is when you're representing a buyer or a seller, or you're wanting to represent a buyer or a seller, and you're looking to get hired by them, you have to remember that you have what they want. Sometimes I see agents feel like they almost approach it like they're pushing something on the client, but the client looks at you and knows that you have what they want. And that is my approach personally with inviting other people to come hear about Synergy and EXP, is that this is the situation that realtors really want. They're not always seeing it. But when you can help them see what this model is all about, they realize, wow, this is what a realtor wants in a brokerage. It really is. So
Cody, can I say something real quick? I want to leave with a takeaway. So it doesn't matter if you're talking about real estate, recruiting people to the company, in your own personal relationships. We use the 5 keys of communication. And the first one is connection. Joe connected with me, right? That's it. The second one is identifying what someone's dreams are. What is their value proposition? What do they hope for? And if they don't have that dream, you may be the very first person that says, what do you want? What do you want? And know that that's critical. The third one is to be very clear on why you're here. What is your value proposition? Why did you say yes? And then being able to connect what they want to what you want, and to show that together more is possible. And ask them if you can go in partnership with them together to grow yourself and to grow them, and then follow up. If we do that consistently with our downlines, if we do that consistently, and by the way, also once people actually make it into the organization, it's critical to do that as well.
Yeah. Well, Denise, we're about at our time. This has been a great conversation for me. Is there anything else that you wanted to kind of close with to cap off our Power 30 here?
Yeah. So I have 2 opportunities coming up for people on the call if they're interested. Starting 2021, on the 1st and 3rd Tuesday of the month at 12:30, we're going to start a speaking club, 321 speaking club. And so that's going to be a Zoom environment. There'll be some people that will be in person, where we really we use that system of 321. But how do we become more competent in speaking, whether it be on one-on-one conversations, whether it be in a listing, or whether it be in a bigger group, so that we can become more effective. And we're going to have real estate conversations. So I'm super excited about that. And then on November 18th from 2 to 6, we're going to do a strategic plan, and then drive that into an automated business plan, working 4 business plans in 2021. So if anyone on the call is interested in using 4th quarter to launch 2021, you know how to reach me. We'd love to invite you to come along with us. This is about independent agents, invite people outside of the organization, lock arms, care about each other. But the question is still the question: where will you be 5 years from now? It's coming, no matter what. And so no choice is a choice. And so I encourage us as an organization to become more clear in our vision, where we're headed, what we want, why is it that we do this, but more importantly, why now? And so use all your resources, use 3 lanes of business, use 2021 to generate more listings, more buyers, build your downline. I refuse to be silent on the issue of building downline, on the issue of being revenue share, because you know what? I have people in this company that refuse to be silent with me. If it were not for the encouragement of Joe D, of Cody Lewis, those people that really helped me in this area. I'm great at making money. I'm not great at growing money. And when I shared that, we linked arms, and 2020 has been the best year in growing money I have ever had, which if it wasn't for this, it wasn't for the 12th person saying, hey, what about EXP? I would not be sitting here today.
Yeah, awesome. Very good. Thank you. So November 18th from 2 to 6 p.m.
Yep.
Is that going to be in person or Zoom?
It's going to be, so there'll be 15 VIP seats hosted by Fidelity National Title. So we'll have some really cool stuff for people that are in person with us. However, because of capacity issues, we can only have 15. Then everyone else will be online. We'll be using breakout rooms, polls, exciting stuff.
All right, cool. And then the other one was the 321 Speaking Club. That's going to start in 2021?
Yep. So the first date on that is Tuesday. Let me just make sure I give you the right date.
It's going to be, what did you say, the 2nd and 4th Tuesday? Or
the 1st and 3rd Tuesday, 12:30. So it'll, there'll be people that want to come to our track 20 that we do every Tuesday, and we'll be meeting the speaking club after that. It's going to be super fun, and it's going to be really taking your business. How do you have a significant conversation about real estate? That's what we hear all the time, and practicing that with people that care. And then we do script practice, skill practice, live practice. Go out, use it, and build your business.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I can't wait. That'll be great. All right, Denise, thank you so much. We appreciate your time. We know you are a busy woman. You got lots of things to get done. And so thank you so much for sharing with us all of your thoughts.
We love you. Peace out.